Dave Anderson here with the Fisherman magazine. It's April 17th. These are your headlines. Opening day of trout season produced some really big fish in Rhode Island and Connecticut. We got lots more herring showing up in the runs, which is really upping the activity of striped bass. And the bottom fishing's been pretty good in Rhode Island when the weather allows it. Stay tuned for all that and more on this week's New England Fishing Forecast.
The ultimate fishing authority in the Northeast, the Fisherman magazine.
No guessing, just catching. New Explore Series fish finders keep you locked on fish with unbeatable clarity, best-in-class imaging options, and a stunning ultra-bright HD screen. There's more to explore, only with Humminbird.
Before we begin, we got a few news items for you guys. First one, I just want to review the April 14th edition of the Fisherman magazine. That's our weekly digital edition. We get one that comes out every week from April through mid-November. This one has 3 columns. We've got a surf column by our friend Jeff Sullivan, who we all know from the report here. This one's all about his top back bay striper lures. It's a really good article. Next one is an inshore story by Matt Broderick. This one's all about patterning inshore tog. And then the last one is all about sort of fishing a river for trout and sort of seeing how laydowns change where the trout are in the stream. Very interesting story, and I think you're going to get a lot out of that one. In addition to those, you got an editor's log from me, and you have a full slate of fishing reports. If you're not a subscriber, you want to head over to our website. That's thefisherman.com. You get a couple of free clicks in there so you can see the stuff that we do. And it's $31.95 for a subscription, so check us out online. I think you'll be impressed. Next thing is the giveaway, and that is ongoing. We're giving away a surf howdy made by me and a Dexter fillet knife along with that. This one's going to wrap up, what is that, May 25th. So we got just a little over a month to wow me with that awesome photo. I did get a really good photo this week that is definitely going to be a contender, I think, but certainly not a guaranteed winner. If you guys don't know how this whole thing works, I pick something to give away every 3 or 4 months. And then we run a contest. And the basics of it are you got to go out, catch a fish, take a picture of you holding your fish. You can't be laying on the ground next to your rod or something like that. And you really want to try to capture like a really nice scene. You want to capture something that sort of exemplifies New England fishing. You're going to send it in to me at danderson@thefisherman.com or text it to the number on the screen. And you're going to give me all the pertinent details, like who caught the fish, roughly where it was caught, how big it was, what it was caught on, all that stuff. Send it in to me, and then I pick my favorite. I gather these all up, and I pick my favorite at the end of the contest, and somebody gets the prize, which again, this time around is a surf howdy that I made for the Surf Howdy article back in, I think that was the February plug building article, and a Dexter fillet knife as well. So get those photos in, and we'll see who wins. Moving over into the reports now, everyone that I talk to, north of the Massachusetts border is now open water fishing. But most of those guys are trout fishing. I've got a few guys closer to the Mass border that are doing a lot of bass fishing now and finding good success. They're sort of, they're like 2 or 3 weeks behind us here in southern New England. And so they're kind of getting into the beginning of that pre-spawn bite, which is a great time of year to get a really big fish. So they're enjoying that. Crossing the border into Massachusetts, let's check in now with Kevin Huang from Surfland Bait and Tackle.
What's up, guys? Kevin from Surfland Bait and Tackle checking in with the weekly report. Oof, haddock fishing's been pretty good when they can get out there. They located the haddock. Everyone's getting some nice fillets, some nice redfish. I mean, ground fishing's been good. It's been really good. And freshwater wise, still tons of crappie. Heard of a couple white perch. But I think that bite's going to get better as the temperatures start to warm up more. Striped bass, holdovers, they've been biting pretty good. Tube and worm, different types of soft plastics, all different types of that type of things. Been working pretty well. And then the shad, haven't heard of any caught yet, but that's because the temperature hasn't been correct yet. But it's getting there. We just need more warm days to get that water temperature up closer to that 50 mark because it's right there. It's pretty close. So I'll catch you guys next week. Have a good one.
Now we'll head down the coast a little bit further. We'll check in with Danny Parma from Fish Bucket Sport Fishing.
Thanks, Dave. Dan checking in. This week's report, still a little light. I was down in the Chelsea area last night doing some casting, hoping that maybe there'd be a lucky striper swimming by me. The wind picked up, so I didn't have much time to do any fishing, but pretty soon they'll be coming. I have been down off the Merrimack River in Haverhill, doing pretty good on the smallies. I think it was last Friday. I was down for probably a half hour, 45 minutes, and I got probably a dozen or so. So the smallie action, I was using the Algags whippet tails, whippet fish in the pearl color. That's kind of my go-to for schoolies and smallies and a little bit of mix. Pretty much everything hits in Algags. Yeah, just we're getting the boat ready for the season. There was one captain that put his boat in the water the other day and had a client that wanted to get out there. They didn't get much, but the first trip in the Boston area is in the books, and it can only get better from here. That's what I got for you guys. Stay safe. I'll catch you on the next one.
Heading west into central Massachusetts, I've been hearing good bass reports from all those sort of interior Massachusetts ponds. Guys are doing very well. We're in that, like the heat of pre-spawn pretty much throughout all of this southern half in New England, and guys are doing well with some bigger fish. Also still seeing great results coming out of Wachusett Reservoir, whether you're lake trout fishing or smallmouth fishing. The bite has been very good. Roy is extremely busy today, couldn't send in a report, so we'll check in with him next week. And then jumping down to southeast Massachusetts, the trout action has been exceptionally good across that area and extending right out onto the Cape. Always seems to be some of the best trout fishing we see in Massachusetts, or really across New England. Massachusetts is constantly stocking at this time of the year, which makes it possible to catch them however you want to. And again, this stretches all the way out onto the Cape. So if you want to do it with lures, you want to do it with bait, you want to do it with power bait, you want to do it with fly rod, you're going to catch fish. And the state's been doing a good job putting some big fish in this year. We've seen a lot of bigger rainbows, and sometime soon, if this year is like all the other years, we should see those broodstock browns going in. So you want to keep an eye on the DFW social media, because they will announce when they put those fish in, and some of those fish are quite large. The other thing we're hearing about is a lot of largemouth bass fishing. I feel like things are 2 weeks behind what they have been over the last 5 years. It's been a much colder winter this year, which has kept the water temps lower, and then we've had all this sort of mixed weather. A lot of colder weather, we've had a lot of cold rain, even had some snow in some places. And that's keeping the water temperatures a little lower than they typically would be at this time of the year, which, I mean, as a bass fisherman, I think that can only be a good thing. It's just going to extend that pre-spawn bite a little bit longer. So, all systems go right now. We're seeing a lot of nice fish coming off the Cape and the, Cranberry region, sort of from Scituate out through Plymouth and out to the canal. Really good stuff going on there. We're starting to see more guys doing some saltwater stuff now. A lot of those tidal rivers, just like everywhere else, have some holdover striped bass in them. And once we start getting, good numbers of herring in the runs and the water temperatures come up a few degrees, we start to see some decent striped bass around the runs. When I say decent, I'm talking like 24 to 35, 36 inches, something like that. You could get a bigger one, but that's about the size bracket that you can expect. A lot of times the bite is on the slower side, but it feels good to get that first fish of the year, and we've seen evidence of a lot of guys kind of cashing in on that over the last week or so. Getting up toward the canal, I know a few guys actually fish the canal, hoping to get that first stripe of the year, and I have heard that the cadets at the Maritime Academy continue to catch tog, and a few guys have caught some tog further into the canal. And now, to wrap up the Massachusetts report, let's check in with East End Eddie. Here's his first report from the canal of 2025.
Hi, Dave. It's my first day back on the canal after a long, cold winter. I'm in the West End. The West End gets most of my attention this time of year on an east tide because striped bass ride the east tide in from Buzzards Bay during the northern migration. Today we have a breaking tide. Anybody who doesn't know what a breaking tide is, it's got three components. When an east tide combines with a low tide and a first light, all within a couple hours. This morning we had all three of those components come together within minutes. 5:31 is when the tide turned east, and the low tide bottomed out at 5:42. And first light, before the sun comes up, but you can see that's right around the same time, 20 of 6. But so we had everything lined up perfectly except the fish. If you don't have fish, there's no tide can help you. And the water is still kind of cold in the high 40s, and so we really need 55 degrees to do some business. There'll be some holdovers here and some schoolies, but the date that I really look for every year is May 7th. May 7th, a few days before or a few days after May 7th is when the action really usually heats up. So that's always on my mind. So just trying out some new lures this morning and just practicing until some fish come. So until next week, be safe and try to catch a big one.
Are you the best angler in the Northeast? Well, now is your chance to prove it. The Fisherman's Dream Boat Contest is back. Win this Steigercraft center console powered by Yamaha along with these other great prizes. Fish hard and weigh in as many of these species to be top on the leaderboard. What's the catch? You must be a subscriber to the Fisherman magazine. All it takes is one fish on the board to win a great prize. So however you fish, you have a shot. For all the details and official rules, visit thefisherman.com.
Moving over into Rhode Island, we'll start things off with an East Bay report from TJ Kopecky.
Thanks, Dave. Hey guys, trout opener the past weekend, and the weather was not the best. Probably held a lot of people in from fishing. But all in all, I think Saturday was probably the best day, and I think it's because these stocked fish hadn't seen anything or any lures, presentations come into the water. Sunday, different story, the pressure change. That's the day I got out, and I did not do well at all. And I hit two different ponds. I hit the Brickyard Pond in Barrington, and it was like a ghost town. And I hit Melville. I didn't catch anything. There were some guys catching very few fish, but the bite was off on Sunday again, unless you fished early in the morning. Other than that, some other stuff to talk about other than trout, and I know everyone was trout fishing, but some of the lakes and ponds here in the East Bay that you can fish, people were still catching panfish, crappie, bass. The bite was still actually pretty good. I've heard some reports of some white perch lingering around, and it's a good time to get out and try to fish for those guys. And some of the salt creeks and salt marshes, they're coming into spawn, so might be time to switch some gears and hit the East Bay and do a little white perch fishing. Other than that, haven't heard any holdover or new arrival bass up inside of the Barrington and Huang rivers. Lots of herring up there, from what I gather. And I know that the Barrington run that goes underneath County Road, in Barrington, was definitely loaded. I visited there just to check it out, just to see what was going on. A lot of ospreys and a lot of big blue herons feeding on those herring coming in also. But things are starting to shape up, and hopefully this weather, it's been kind of crazy, and it's been turning the fishing on, turning it off. Hopefully it gets better. This upcoming weekend looks really good for Easter. And that's all we got from the East Bay. Tight lines, guys. Talk to you next week.
Now, weather's been a real mixed bag over these last 7 days. Over the weekend was, I would almost classify that as terrible weather, especially for opening day when so many people were so excited to get out there and catch those first trout of the season. The guys that did go did very well in spite of the weather, and we saw quite a few really nice fish. I know Jeff Sullivan had a real corker there. I got a picture of that here. And also, I was talking to my buddy Ben, who did like a club tournament for his rod and gun club, and he said that, you know, it's a 3-fish limit. Everybody brings in their biggest 3, and whoever's got the heaviest 3 wins. And he said the biggest 3 was 11.9 pounds, and there were a lot of totals in that like upper 10 to low 11-pound range, which kind of lets you know that there's a lot of those fish, a lot of bigger fish in the ponds this year. A lot of, you know, 3 to 4 pound trout, which is fantastic. And everyone I've talked to that's been out over this last week has had nothing but great things to say about the trout fishing in Rhode Island. On the other hand, this sort of tumultuous weather seems to have put a little bit of a damper on the largemouth bass fishing. I haven't seen the numbers and sizes that I've seen over the last few weeks coming out of Rhody this week. Now, that could be due to a number of things. It could be the weather. It could be the fact that these guys are all concentrating on trout right now. But in either case, as we get some more stable weather, it looks like we're going to get some warmer, stabler weather this week, especially after all this wind lays down. I have a feeling that bass fishing is going to fire right back up. So keep your foot on the gas if you're a bass fisherman. And the one thing I did hear, I almost forgot to mention, is that the night bite has been better than the day bite. So if you're one of those guys like me who likes to go out and throw wake baits after dark, you might have a good shot at getting a good fish right now. So again, keep your foot on the gas there. And while we're talking about all these fisheries, let's check in with Jeff Sullivan. Here he is.
Hey Dave, what's up? What's going on, guys? Checking back in this week with a little fishing video. Well, we got a nice, just got a nice rainbow trout. Not too shabby, not too shabby. Ate a little underspin, 6 cents underspin. It's been on and off today, the cloud cover and everything else, with the wind. So we found a little spot to duck out of the wind, found some fish, and hey, the trout bite's been pretty good. So opening day was a success, and you know, just getting out there and trying to maximize these weather windows, like I always say. And yeah, fluorocarbon, underspin, chartreuse shads is the way to go. But next week, I'll check back in with you guys. Later.
For more than 20 years, anglers everywhere have come to know one thing, that nothing says no to fish bites.
Now, as I said in the headlines, when the weather allows, the bottom fishing has been pretty good across Rhode Island. And a lot of this bottom fishing is up close to shore, because you know, a lot of what I've been seeing has been coming out of kayaks. We've seen some tog coming out of the yaks this week on, you know, they just threading the needle, picking that perfect weather window when the wind isn't going to blow them around too much. And we've seen some codfish as well. So that lets you know that some of these codfish are in pretty tight, you know, usually around the Newport, Narragansett area. So you know, keep an eye on that. And then crossing out further into the headboat area, I haven't heard of any headboats heading out this week, so we're gonna have to check in with them next week. And then out along South County, still no fresh striped bass to talk about, but everyone I talk to is like any day now. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think by the time we shoot this report next week, there will be the first striped bass kind of streaming along those South County beaches, and that's sort of the unofficial start to everything just going crazy. So I'm looking forward to that. And that's what I have for you guys in Rhode Island this week.
In the famed waters of Panama awaits a fishing experience like no other. Tropic Star Lodge welcomes anglers to get in on world-famous fishing action. Plan your perfect trip today. Tropic Star Lodge, the ultimate in fishing adventures for more than 60 years.
Crossing over into Connecticut now. Again, the trout fishing on opening day was spectacular. The biggest fish I heard of was 12 pounds. That is a serious corker. I wish I had a photo of that one to show you guys, but that is a monster fish. And everyone I spoke to, from tackle shop owners to recreational anglers, everyone was happy with their results, even, you know, dodging the raindrops out there, and you know, still seeing plenty of fanfare surrounding opening day, even with the no harvest season kind of coming to an end on opening day, but people still being able to fish for trout for the last 6 or 7 weeks. Really no downturn in interest as far as opening day goes, which is really great to see. Another thing that we're seeing a lot of is striped bass relating to the herring runs. And that's something that's happening in Rhode Island too. I think I forgot to mention that, but all across this region. Any one of these active herring runs right now, especially when they're up inside a tidal river, salt pond system, something like that, we're seeing striped bass around the runs. It's not always a lot of fish, sometimes it is. And typically, again, these fish are 24 to 36 inches, somewhere in there. My little trick that I can give over to you guys is to fish fast. You know, you think you're going to go there and, you know, slow crank your Danny through there. Typically that is ignored. Not always, but especially when you get up tighter to the run, I find that the faster I fish, the more hits I get. I'll fish like a big paddle tail or like a K-tail from NLBN or a magic swimmer or a foreplay or something like that. Something that I can really just almost like skim across the top, just, you know, just kind of snaking along, leaving a big wake, like one of those herring making a mad dash for the mouth of the run. And that typically creates that sense of urgency that causes these fish to make a split decision to strike. Really, really fun fishery, and something I definitely recommend trying to get in on. A lot of that's happening up inside the Connecticut River, and let's check in with our Connecticut River guys now, starting with Rowan Lytle.
Hey everybody, coming to you from a cooler day in the midst of what seems to be finally good and properly spring. Looks like we might have some really warm weather over the weekend, and we're working with a river that is much lower than it was this time last year. It's still fairly murky in the main stem of the river, but the water temperatures are climbing quickly. I'd anticipate shad and herring coming in, so the shad fishing should pick up in the next couple days, and it looks like a lot of other things are going well as well. I've been booking smallmouth and carp trips very heavily, busy with that. The smallmouth fishing has been spotty, but when it's been good, it's been really good, and the carp fishing has been nothing short of spectacular. I got one of my young clients on a fish right in the mid 20-pound range on the fly, his first properly big fish on the fly rod just yesterday, and that was phenomenal. So good fishing to be had all around. Certainly the bait fishing with channel catfish and carp, great as well, especially in the backwaters and in the afternoons as that water warms up and the fish really come in to feed, and it looks like the weekend should provide plenty of that.
Now we'll jump down to the mouth and we'll check in with Mike Roy from Reelcast Charters.
Hey everybody, for this week's fishing forecast, the fishing has been good. I'd say the average size of the fish is a little bit above average with a decent amount of 28 to 35 inch fish. So that's really great to see. As always, especially early spring, the soft plastics work really well, like the 5 3/4 inch finesse fish, 7 inch finesse fish, and 7 inch sluggo. Did get some fish on larger baits too, like the 9 inch sluggo. As the water temperatures rise, I expect to see more topwater action. Looks like over the next week or so, the forecast looks pretty good, so I expect the bite to really improve. We still have some openings, so if you're interested, reach out, and should be a very good start to the season.
And now we'll cross the river and stop in Westbrook and check in with Matt Stone from Black Hall Outfitters.
What's up everyone, Matt here from Black Hall Outfitters in Westbrook with this week's fishing report. Definitely loving the trend the next couple weeks. We've got some nice highs in the 60s, and then I like to look at the night lows. Tells us how much ground we're going to lose in terms of water temperature from what we gained during the sunny day. And our night lows are looking in the high 40s for the next couple weeks, so definitely going to help that water inch to and over that 50-degree mark that we all love to see. Spring tog has been good locally. We've been able to get some good fish. I was out yesterday, did really well, 10 to 20 feet of water using crabs. Definitely good for the spring, nothing crazy size-wise, but those numbers are there, and we always like to see that. You know, this time of year, it's fun to get back out in the salt and have a purpose again. In terms of stripers, the tidal creeks are kind of going to be your go-to for the next couple weeks here. You know, pretty much all of them are going to hold some fish, and they're going to get more active as the water warms and bait gets more active. Herring's already around, so always good to see. Still using the same stuff, small paddle tails, small soft plastics. By the end of the month, you can probably get them on some top water too. For now, I'm going to be throwing twitch baits, flukes, paddle tails, things of that nature to try to get those stripers. Freshwater is really good. Trout, bass are pre-spawn right now, so jigs, spinner baits, crankbaits, jerk baits, all that kind of stuff. Really good trout bite overall, all the normal things you use for those guys. So the world's waking up, and we're here for it. Good luck out there.
Then heading west from there, this is where the better tog fishing has been taking place in Connecticut, and this is sort of an interesting thing about the bite right now. It's been very slow, but the thing that's been turning it on is a sunny day. So once you get those sun rays penetrating, a lot of people say that those sun rays will warm up the rocks as well. I'm not sure if that's really accurate, but if that's what gives you the confidence to go, it doesn't matter as long as it works for you. But in either case, the sun rays penetrating the water up against the New Haven walls, the Stratford walls, or any other sort of exposed reef. A lot of these fish are going to be way up shallow, you know, in 5 to 20 feet of water, sometimes even less than that. That's the days when the bite's been good. Hopefully you get some calm weather with bright sunshine, but on the snotty days, on the cloudy days, the bite's been pretty slow. And then as you get out further and we start, you know, getting back into the striped bass territory, things have been really good, especially up in the Housatonic. The Housie's been putting out a lot of fish, and guys are getting it done a whole bunch of different ways with soft plastics, with hard plastic baits like, you know, like an SP minnow or a LC minnow or something like that. Mag darters, super strike darters, all kinds of stuff like that. The bite's been pretty solid, been seeing some really nice fish, and for a little bit more on that and other things happening in the Western Sound, let's check in now with Max Finch from Fisherman's World.
Hey everyone, Max here from Fisherman's World with another local fishing report. This past week, we seen bass come out of Norwalk Harbor, Saugatuck River, the tidal part of Norwalk River, and of course the Housatonic. The upper Housatonic is really putting out some nicer fish. We've seen fish in that 35 to 40 inch range. Guys are catching them on SP minnows, mag darters, and bigger soft plastics. This is a good time of year to up your presentation to, you know, try to match the arrival of spring herring and try to cash in on some of these bigger fish, you know, roaming and mixing with these schoolies on the Housatonic. Down towards the mouth, fish continue to flood out. They're mostly schoolies. We've seen some slot-sized fish, but it's good action. This is a great time of year for the fly rodders to get in on it. And then locally, Norwalk Harbor, Saugatuck, they're fishing really well. Sandworms, bloodworms are working really well this time of year. It should just get better as we get these warmer temps this coming week. And then on the blackfish side of things, the local reports are still pretty slow. The water's still hovering around 43, 44. But most of the reports that we're seeing are coming from the New Haven walls, Stratford walls, and the Bridgeport walls. The bite can be a little slower this time of year, so you really got to put your time in. And this is a good time of year to try sandworms on blackfish. They work really well. Flounder reports are pretty slow. We've heard of a couple. There's not many people trying, but if you do get out, places like out in front of calf pasture and then around Peach Island or Harbor, remember to bring clam chum and some corn, and of course sandworms. They work really well. On the freshwater side, the opening, you know, of the harvest this past Saturday was really well. We saw a lot of nice trout. Norwalk River's fishing really well. Mianus River, Saugatuck River, the Far Mill. And then the Saugatuck Reservoir also opened this past Saturday. It was a little slower because the waters are cold, but we did see some bass. We didn't get much report of some bigger trout, but this should continue to get better as we see the temps starting to warm up. Thanks and good luck.
And that's what I have for you guys in the reports this week. Hopefully it's going to inspire you to get out there and fish. Things are just booming right now. There's no reason not to get out there, whether you want to striper fish, tog fish, or whether you want to do some freshwater, look for a giant largemouth, or take advantage of the awesome stocking that's been going on with a lot of big trout across all 3 southern New England states. There's plenty of options, plenty of fish to be caught, and plenty of opportunities to take a winning photo as well. If you're not a subscriber to The Fisherman, I highly recommend you head over to our website. That's thefisherman.com. You're going to get a full taste of what we offer. We cover all the fishing from Delaware to Maine, and we post a lot of stuff that travels outside the region, whether we're going upstate New York for steelhead or we're heading down to Costa Rica for roosterfish, or, you know, anything in between. We cover it all. We cover offshore, inshore, surf, kayak, paddleboard, shore-based everything. You know, it's the ultimate source for the multi-species angler. I'm sure you're going to find that you're going to love it. It's $31.95 for the year. You're going to get 12 paper magazines sent to your house. You get 26 digital editions sent to your email, and you get digital access to all the back issues plus the other 2 editions, of which we have 3. So we have the New Jersey Delaware, we have the Long Island Metro, and we have the New England edition. You're going to get access to all of those for one low price. Head over to the website, check us out, and that's what I have for you guys this week. I appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.